I may have just got a little bit too carried away with Doctor Who. I mean, does anybody need 15 Doctor Whos? Maybe. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, May the 27th, 2024, and it is vlog number 361. So let's jump right into what I've been doing. I've gotten a lot done in the last week or so, and it helped that we had a pop-up sew day on Saturday as well. So this is the Churchill block. Actually, it's the Churchill block made into a Churchill block quilt. This is the one that Stephanie and I are doing as a sew-along, and tomorrow on Idiot Quilter, I'm going to point out a few things to you about this. It hasn't been quilted yet. This is just the top, so there's that's why it looks a little limp. But anyways, as I said, I'm going to talk about it in a little bit more detail tomorrow on Idiot Quilter. And I also did finish this one. This has been a UFO, unfinished project, or unfinished object. That's what those stand for. And I have had it sitting on Lucy waiting to be quilted for quite a while. This is called the Diamond Trip quilt. It's by Jordan Fabrics. It's a free pattern. I finished this months ago, but I just got around to quilting it. And again, tomorrow I'm going to tell you what's a little bit different about the way I quilted this one. I'm going to talk about that on Idiot Quilter. And I finished this on the weekend as well. This is going to be a gift. It's a table runner, and it was an in the hoop project. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And I just noticed something that I could have done. No, I couldn't have. Yeah, I could have. But it doesn't matter. It looks fine just as it is. And as I said, this is going to be a gift. Again, going to go into a little bit more detail about this on the Idiot Quilter. Okay, so that takes me to the YouTube channel clip of the week, and this one has to do with a major drugstore chain here in Canada called Shoppers Drug Mart. They are huge. They're probably the largest drugstore across the country, and they also belong to a larger corporation called Loblaws, which right now we are boycotting this month because they've been gouging us at the till with prices on food, and people have had enough of that. So there is a movement to boycott them through the whole month of May. I don't know if that's going to do anything, but makes us feel better that we're doing something. However, back to Shoppers Drug Mart, their drugstore chain, they're facing some backlash because they posted, one of their stores posted a ad looking for someone to work for them, that they had jobs available, but they were voluntary. They were volunteer job postings. In other words, they weren't going to get paid. But their jobs entailed doing the same thing as paid employees. This is a drugstore chain that makes record profits every month. Why would they be asking for volunteers? They are not a charity. They're not a not-for-profit charity. What's that all about? And there's been quite a storm about that. So this is what this little clip I'm about to review talks about in a little bit more detail. This week's video clip is one that comes on the tails of all kinds of controversy around a company called Loblaws in Canada, which is a major supermarket chain that's been making record profits and has been gouging consumers. They've even come under the scrutiny of the government, so for whatever that will do. But in the meantime, there's a new story breaking about a Shoppers Drug Mart, which is owned by Loblaws, and Shoppers Drug Marts are prolific in this country. There are many, many, many of them. Almost every street corner has a Shoppers Drug Mart. And as I said, they're owned by Loblaws as well, so adds more to their profit margin as well. But in the meantime, one of their Shoppers Drug Marts posted for jobs, but as volunteer positions. And these were jobs for stocking shelves, helping out customers, things like that. The kind of jobs that usually people are paid for. But they were not going to get paid. They were volunteers. So CBC News in Toronto did a story about this, and they reached out to Shoppers Drug Mart, to the Loblaws Corporation, and asked them about this, and they said, oh, that was a mistake. They're very quickly trying to cover up what was not really a mistake. It's just ludicrous. I mean, it's hard to believe that a major corporation that has record profits every quarter is actually hiring people to do jobs that they're not going to pay them for. I can't believe it. But if you want to hear the whole story, then I suggest you check out this news clip. It'll astound you. I mean, how low can corporations go for the almighty dollar? Really. It's called Shoppers Drug Mart Faces Backlash for Volunteer Job Posting, and there's a link for it in the show notes. So if you're interested in pursuing that story a little further, the link for that YouTube clip is in the show notes below. There's a link for Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. Again, always on Wednesdays, always starting at 9 a.m., running till 4 p.m. Eastern Time. All are welcome. Couple of links for two of my patterns that I have made, and they are always available to you free. And there's links to all my friends' channels, and there's links as well to all the videos I put up last week. So lots of things there for your viewing entertainment. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look outside, shall we? And from my Ring camera, this is what we're looking at today. Not that wonderful. It looks like we're clouding over, rain in the forecast. It looks, because the steppe is wet, that we have had rain already. Rain's not a bad thing. We need it. We need rain all across North America. Because there's a lot of places now that are starting up with the forest fires again. It's becoming an annual event. And whether you believe it's climate warming or it's just the cycle of nature, I don't know, but they're devastating. So yeah, rain is a welcome thing. Now, we're not having forest fires here in Ontario, but nevertheless, we need to get our grass growing. And you can see in the center of the lawn, that's looking very nice. That's all rented lips, Walter's reseeding of the lawn, and he's not done yet. We have read somewhere that the thicker your grass, the less weeds. You choke out the weeds, and we need to choke out the weeds in Ontario if we want to have nice lawns, because in Ontario we can't use pesticides or weedicide, whatever you want to call it. We can't use poison. Yeah. Now, that's probably a good thing, but there's no other alternative that really works effectively. Oh, yes, there's all kinds of organic stuff, and those of you that might be tree huggers out there, and I say that in a positive way, probably have all kinds of solutions you can make up that involve vinegar, juice, and I don't know, whatever, and dish soap or something like that. Well, we've tried those. They don't work. Poison kills. Yeah, it works really well. But here in Ontario, we can't get that stuff. So we have to resort to other ways. So this is one of the ways. It's natural. It looks good. And yeah, so everything is green right now. Everything's looking very fresh, even though it is overcast and threatening rain. So that's the kind of day we're having here. And right now it is currently 16 degrees C, and it's going to a high of 22, which is very comfortable. Not summer hot, but we're not quite into summer yet. We have a few more weeks yet until the official start of the summer solstice. So yeah, there we go. Okay. Let me just switch over here. Yeah. So what's pissing me off this week? All right. So I showed you the clip about, volunteers working for a major corporation. Yeah, not happening. But there's a lot of people crying the blues right now about not being able to afford, food, not being able to afford the mortgage on their houses, things like that. And okay, yeah, I get it. It is rough. It is especially rough for those that are on a fixed income, which is anybody pretty much that's retired in my age group anymore. Yeah, so you've got to really penny pinch and look for the sales and things like that. I mean, we do. We look for sales, and when I say we, I mean Walter. He constantly goes through the electronic grocery store flyers, and, thank goodness we have a freezer. And, If meat of some sort is on sale and Walter thinks it's a good price and he knows his prices, we will pick it up. Yeah, so we just don't go willy-nilly and pay whatever for things either. And I don't think most people do. Everybody's watching their pennies. However, I was watching something where the big complaint was the price of a latte. Uh-huh, a latte. Well, people were up in arms. Starbucks prices have gone up on a latte, and so have other coffee chains and things like that. I think they quoted that it's around $7 or almost $8, depending on where you go, for a latte. What's wrong with this? Well, yeah, it's coffee. Coffee with milk in it. Yeah, uh-huh. And whether you're taking no fat almond milk or whatever the bougie thing is these days to have in your coffee, it's a specialty. As a specialty thing, it is a luxury item. Nobody will die if they don't have a latte. But these people are the same people that are showing up at food banks to pick up a little extra there to supplement their food income. These are the same people that are driving nice cars that they have a lease on and have payments on. These are the same people that have more than one car. These are the same people that have their children in daycare. And that, don't get me started on that one, because that they keep crying the blues about that. You know, two people, they have to work. Yeah, you do have to work. If you've got two luxury cars, a big house, go out to eat all the time, and have a latte every day. Yeah. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo, play the small violin on this one, because nobody needs a latte. Yeah, they're nice. On the occasion, I will have a caramel macchiato. Well, it's very rare actually when I have one. I can make my own at home if I wish. Yeah, wait. We can all make coffee at home, can't we? Yeah. I mean, who doesn't have some form of a coffee maker? But even if you didn't, there's something like a blast from the past, but you can still get it. Instant coffee. Oh, yeah, I know. It tastes terrible. Well, yeah, in comparison to a coffee that has whole milk in it or almond milk and a little swirl of something on the top and things like that, sure it does. But then again, does anybody need coffee? Just let me have a sip here. Yeah, I needed that. No, I could live without that. And that's just plain, ordinary, everyday black coffee. Yeah, I'm sorry, it isn't instant. Do as I say, don't do as I do. Kind of a thing. I have a nice coffee maker. A really nice coffee maker, okay? It's a luxury item. Quite aware of that. But I'm not in debt for it, okay? I'm not saying it's because I have a lot of money. What I'm saying is it was a calculated expense. I wasn't going into debt for a coffee maker. It was money that I had set aside that I earmarked for this device. Okay? It's not like I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul in order to afford that coffee maker. Okay? But do I absolutely, if push came to shove, do I absolutely need it? No, I do not. But look around our houses. How many items in our house do we really not need that we have bought? Now, it's fine if you can afford it, if it doesn't put you into hock for something like that. But if it does, you have to rethink your finances. And these people that are crying about the price of a latte, you know that one, they can either afford it, it's not eating into their budget, but it's more likelihood the ones that are complaining about it are the same ones that owe money on their car. They probably have at least. They probably have a 3,000-year-old mortgage. And they probably go out to eat 3, 4, 5 days a week. All that kind of stuff. And they're crying about the price of latte. I'm sure that the people over in the Middle East who aren't getting humanitarian humanitarian outlets aren't getting into them for food, I am sure the first thing that's on their mind is, oh my God, I haven't had a latte in a week. Yeah, I don't think so. Or in any of the other countries in the world that are suffering from, what do they call it now? Not starvation, not famine, food deprivation or something like that. They call it now. Another one of those. Let's make the terms softer, shall we? For horrible situations. I'm sure they're not upset about the price of a latte. They're just more concerned about getting some food into the stomachs of their children and into them at least once a day. Yeah. So, you little bitches, you little spoiled bitches in your lattes, okay? Don't bitch about the price. No one's twisting your arm. Nobody's saying you have to buy a latte. Don't be crying the money blues because the latte went up a dime, okay? Just get over yourselves, really. First world problems, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so moving on here today. New products. Well, I bought a new book. This will be more interest to those of you that are quilters. Oh, wait here. Let me get the right screen up for this. Yeah, give me just a sec here. Well organized. Not. Okay, I need to pull that down, need to pull that up, need to pull this here, and here we go. I bought this book, Quilt in a Day, Underground Railroad Sampler by Eleanor somebody and Sue somebody. Okay, I can't read it very well. Oh, wait, if I roll over it, maybe I can. Yeah, Eleanor Burns. Of course, it's Eleanor Burns. Those of you in the quilting community know exactly who Eleanor Burns is. And Sue Bouchard. Okay, I bought this book because Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches has been doing sort of a sew along with the various blocks that are in this. But I've listened to her talk about the book, and this book doesn't just give you the patterns and the instructions for the patterns, but it also talks a little bit about the history of the Underground Railroad and the connection, whether it's true or not, to quilting. Because the legend is that it was a secret code that was sewn into these quilts that would be displayed on houses that were safe places that people could find shelter when they were escaping from slavery. Well, there's been lots of information about that, and it seems that really that's more of a legend than the truth. But it's a nice story, and this book looks at each of the history of these blocks. So if you're interested in history and you're interested in quilting, this might be something for you. I love doing sampler quilts, but I haven't done one in quite a while. And these are traditional blocks. And I thought, yeah, I think I'll work on this. This will be one of those projects over time. When I'm bored with one project, I might go and make one of the blocks in this. So we'll see if I ever get this particular quilt done. I've got the fabric for it. In fact, I bought some fabric for it on last week. So I will be showing those fabrics on Idiot Quilter tomorrow. So yeah, that's the only thing new really that I have bought in the last week, because I can't afford a whole lot because they put up the price of a latte. Yeah. Okay, so oh, there was one other thing that I bought, and just let me find it here. I purchased this. This is just a card reader. I'm sure everybody knows about those. The thing about this card reader is if you look at the end of it up here, right there, it comes with a C connector, and it comes with an adapter to make the C into a USB-A adapter, which I think makes it very versatile, because a lot of the new devices now that are coming out are all C connectors, especially if you own a Mac laptop. It really doesn't have any USB outlets, the new ones. They're all C. And the one thing I could say against Macs is they don't have enough connections. I had to buy back, well, actually, Walter bought it for me, a docking uh, box where that has like a whole bunch of different connections to put any peripheral devices onto it. So, anyways, I got this, and you can see that it's like multi-purpose here because it does all these different cards. Now, a lot of these cards nobody uses anymore. Most of us use the TF style cards, which are the micro uh, SD cards or an SD card. And this little box handles them all. It doesn't need an external power source. It's self-powered when you plug it into the USB connection or the C connection. And yeah, so far I'm very happy with it. Now, why would I want something like that? Mainly for my 3D printer. I had one that read the little cards, the little micro SDs. That's what the 3D printers, my 3D printers take. That's how you transfer in the program that you want to be used to print out your model. But the last week I was using it and I think it was falling apart. It was separating inside where you slide the little card. So I thought, yeah. So I purchased a better one, and that was this one that I've got. And so far I've been very happy with it. So yeah, it's an electronic device, but very handy. So, you know, you might have, if you want to extend your, you know, your peripherals on your computer and your run, or, you know, a lot of them don't come with card readers on them, especially the Macs. The Macs come with nothing. They come with nothing, really, when you think about it. And, you know, you're spending a lot of money on a Mac notebook. They're not cheap. A Windows computer, you know, Windows-based computer are a heck of a lot cheaper than a Mac. I still like my Mac, but it would be nice if they had included some connections for it and possibly a, you know, an SD card reader. Now I know cards in things are something that are being passed over because we do everything on stream. We can download everything right to the computer from the internet. However, there are still things out there like my 3D printers that need the little card. So yeah. Okay. Let's go to what we have on our in our grow lights and on the deck and things like that. And things are coming along. They're progressing very nicely here. So under grow light number 2, we have got a few things coming up. Walter planted some onion bulbs, as you can see, the little tops. His plan with these are when they start to sprout and that he's going to probably move them in under grow lights number 3, because the grow lights that I call grow lights number 3 that are in the workshop are a little better system in terms of intensity and your ability to adjust it. So he thinks they might do better in there, but he's got them here started and in the pot right next to it, and you can see little specks of red. Those are radishes. He planted radish seeds. And I took this picture a couple of days ago, and I just checked these this morning, and there's some little green shoots starting to come up. So again, I'm not sure if he's going to take these and transplant those. I think the idea is when they get big enough, he's going to try and take them outside as for that. We haven't got anything in the other pots or in the other grow lights yet. He's got some lettuce seeds he wants to get planted in there because we like to get the crop going again. We've got them outside. Everything's coming along very nicely outside, actually, and I'll just show you what that looks like. I have a couple of pictures. So there's some lettuce down there. We've got some tomatoes. We've got some green peppers coming along. And down here you can see the rest of them. And the one with the purple flowers, if you ask, that's chives. They self-seed. We do nothing to them. They come up every year. And we do use the chives. You can use them in the place of green onions in a lot of things because they taste like onions. We have some basil way back here in the corner, okay, and some more tomatoes. There's a cucumber out here as well. So he's got some other things he wants to get out here too. These are just all started. Now these plants are large because Walter bought them that way, as opposed to starting them from seed, because they take so bloody long when you start them from seed. If we'd been smart, we would have started them by seed under the grow lights and then transplanted them out. But we weren't wise. Well, part of the problem was we were interrupted by, 3.5 weeks off to Australia. And that was, April. So, yeah, we didn't really get around to it. So, anyways, this is what's happening. And in another month, these things will be much bigger, much more lush, and it looks always so nice on our deck. I love sitting out there on a nice day and surrounded by all of these plants. So essentially, this is our garden, and it's always nice to, here's a better picture of what's in that corner, and it's always nice to be able to go out, and when you want to make a salad, just trim a few things from here, and you have a nice, fresh salad. I don't know what he's got in this box. I'm not sure what's in there. That's the basil there. The basil's a nice plant too. It looks nice, and it grows well under grow lights too. But anyways, things are coming along. Okay, so that takes me, can I print this 3D effing thing? It's Doctor Who month. Okay, I am not a Doctor Who. I wasn't. I think I'm becoming one. I have never really watched Doctor Who. I have watched it, one or two episodes over the years here and there. Never really got into it. But I'm really kind of into the new season of Doctor Who. And this got me thinking, are there things that you can print, 3D print, of Doctor Who? Well, of course there is. And there they are. A bunch. These are all Doctor Who's. I think there have been, now counting the new Doctor Who, 15 Doctor Who's. I do not have a statue or a model of all 15 of them, but I have about 12 of them, I think, 11 or 12 of them. Now, of course, I have the TARDIS as well, and TARDIS, for those of you Doctor Who fans, and there's a Dalek. The thing looks like a robot back there. The Doctor Who logo is fun, and the sonic screwdriver. Actually, in the new series, they've changed the design of his sonic screwdriver. It looks more like a Star Trek communicator from the old Star Trek series. There's a K9, that's the robotic dog, and the little boat that's sitting there, that is a Benchy, which is a test model that they have for testing out, different parameters of your 3D printer when you first get it and you're setting it up. But this one, they've altered it so that there's a TARDIS on the boat. And I thought that was kind of fun. The weird looking characters wearing the robes in the back, I think they are Time Lords or something. I'm not sure. The mythology around Doctor Who, I am not absolutely clear on. He is a Time Lord. Something like that, and he goes through space and time and things like that and has weird adventures with weird characters. If you've never seen Doctor Who, I think everybody knows who Doctor Who is. And this is my Doctor Who display. And someone asked me yesterday on Stephen Walter Live, what's that thing turning in the background behind you? And I says, you'll have to watch the vlog. The ones that turn around are down in the forefront on those little black boxes. Those are little turntables. They are solar powered, actually. They work off of, whatever light is in the room, but they do have a backup battery as well. I think to date, I've only ever had to replace the battery in one of them, and I've had these now for a couple of years or more. They weren't very expensive. $10 a piece, I think, from a company called Lee Valley, which is a Canadian company, and you can find them online. Just type in Lee Valley. They have a lot of really cool things. And if you're a gardener especially, you should check out Lee Valley because they really cater that, or a woodworker. But anyways, this display wall used to be where I put up all of my Buddhas that had, my comic Buddhas. People had taken the body of Buddha and stuck on the heads of celebrities and other fun things. And I made a bunch of those at one point in time. Well, I've replaced all of those now with Doctor Who. So, and you can see the sonic screwdriver standing up there, and that's kind of rude. I just realized it now when I'm looking at it. So anyways, let's move on from that. So yeah, so these, why did I want to print these? Well, they're all a little different, and they all present their own little problem. There's a lot of spots that hang out. Like if you look at this one down here, the orange one, that's an umbrella. Okay, there's a lot of space here, a lot of air. 3D printers don't work well when there's that kind of gap. They need support. So I don't like using supports when I make things because sometimes the supports are a real bitch to take off. But I decided to do it, and actually, surprisingly, they came off very, very well. So I want to see. Now, I'll let you in on a secret. A few times, you notice I have them on platforms. I designed the little platform and printed those out separately and then glued them down because these guys did not come with platforms and they weren't that stable when you're trying to stand them up. And in some cases, when I was taking off supports that I was just talking about, I ripped off their foot. So I needed to glue the foot back on, and I did. And then I glued them to these little platforms. So yeah, it's just a whimsical little display of Doctor Who's. So all part of my series on can I 3D print that effing thing. I'm challenging myself. I have a few others over the next few weeks to show you as well that were tricky, but I was very happy with the result, and I'll explain why those were tricky. And this, for those of you that might be thinking of getting into 3D printing, they are getting better all the time, the printers. I mean, they've come a long way since I started 3D printing, and that was maybe 3 years ago when I got into this. Is it, or has it been 4? I don't know. But the machines have gotten much more sophisticated. Prices have come down on them, and they can handle some things that before they could never handle. So yeah, so this is why I'm doing this, to show you what the potential is of 3D printing. I love it. It is a toy for a big boy. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at what I used to do. Blasts from the past, old video clips from the early days of when I started my YouTube channel. And this one is a studio tour. What this looked like, this room, when I used to be a paper crafter. Sorry, I got something in my eye. It's bugging me. Yeah, it looked somewhat like it looks now, except it had a lot of other junk in it than it does now. And I'm sorry for the quality of the video clip. It also, in those days, I think I was recording at about 480p, okay, which is a far cry from HD quality that we have, well, with what you're watching right now. So take a look at Blast from the Past. I think this video comes from 2013, so 11 years ago. Yeah.
Hi again. Someone requested that I do a little virtual tour of my studio, so I thought, well, what the heck, I could do that. Just to let you have some background information about myself, I was a high school English teacher for about 31 years, and I recently retired. I haven't been quite retired a year yet. And since about 2001, I got into scrapbooking. Now, I've always been interested in art and paper arts especially, but I never really had any talent for art. At least that's what I was told by my grade 8 art teacher, who said my stuff just stunk and that I should not pursue art in high school. Which really, now having been an English teacher for 31 years, I now see the effect that a teacher can have on a student, because those words told me that I could not do art. And in those days I had a very limited perspective as to what art really is. And once I discovered scrapbooking, well, that opened up a whole new world of creativity for me. And I tend to be a very creative person, and I like to play around with techniques. And, well, you know, it'll probably never get in a museum, but as long as I'm having fun and it's keeping me interested in life, then what the heck, I'm going to do it. So here we are. This is my studio. Now, right up front, this is sort of command central for me. You are going to see in this tour that I have quite a few computers. That's a whole topic on its own, because I love computer technology. From here is where I do everything. My email, my YouTube videos, the plans for whatever next creative activity I'm going to be into. If the power goes out, I'm lost. Simple as that, because I need my computer system. So these are my principal computers, and as we move a little bit around the peripheral part of my room, you'll notice that there's another computer over there, and lo and behold, here is one of my two Cricut machines. This one is the big machine, the one that will do 12 by 12 paper, etc. I haven't used this one as much as I use my mini one, which you'll see in a minute, but it's hooked into my computer system as well. And when I do bigger projects, I can use this. I love my Cricut machines. This happens to be my computer that runs my music system in my home and my video system. This is all attached wirelessly to the television sets in and around the house, and I can simply tune into this when I want to watch a movie or I want to play my music anywhere in the house. Have a photocopier machine, and then here are some of my cutting machines. This one is my pride and joy. This is my industrial strength guillotine. This one will cut through 400 pieces of paper in one fell swoop. This thing is a weapon. And then, of course, the standard little larger guillotine as well. I have a lot of paper cutters, as you're going to see. And just spinning around here, another computer, my laminating machine. This is great. I've had this for many, many years. It's the thing that does the heat plastic on anything you run through it. I love it. I've used it for more than just paper. It's amazing. All the different things that you can actually put through a laminator that you might not have thought of. For example, you remember how we as kids used to pick up colored leaves and wax them, put them between two sheets of wax paper and iron them down? Well, guess what? You can use the same technique with your laminator. Maybe I'll do a little video on that someday, because it can make some really neat embellishments that'll last forever. Another computer, and we swing around, and books and things like that. Now, over on this side, I have my bookcase, as you can see, and a lot of those 12 by 12 plastic cases which hold my embellishments and chipboard. I can get a little closer, you can see. I have everything labeled. Okay, I know, anal retentive, that kind of thing. But I found when I reorganized this whole room, which before was more or less my teaching stuff, if I didn't label it, I wasn't going to find it. So I labeled everything. Another machine I love, my label making machine. This is just a way that I hold some decorative papers. These are the kind of papers that are handmade papers or Japanese style types of papers. I also create my own hardcover books, and these often are used for the inside cover pages for that. Now, my bookshelf. Okay. I also do genealogy. So on this shelf are all kinds of books on genealogy. On the next shelf are my 8.5 by 11 cardstock supply, which I've organized by colors. And yes, even though you can see the color, I labeled them. Told you. I'm a little anal retentive. Down here are books about scrapbooking, about bookbinding, bookmaking, album making, that kind of thing. The same with the next shelf down. And then at the very bottom, and I have to get down on my knees to take this, are all of my scrapbook albums. And I have quite a few of them. When I first started scrapbooking, I did it in the traditional method. And I then moved into digital. I also did them on a variety of things, you know, family, my cat, you know, that kind of stuff. Now I pretty much limit my scrapbooking to digital scrapbooking, and I usually do it on my travels, and I travel quite a bit. I've been to many places around the world. I've been to China, I've been all through Europe, you name it, Scandinavian countries, Russia, and I'm still going strong on that. It's one of my other hobbies, is traveling. I love it. So this, in this area, this started out as my first work area when I first got into scrapbooking. So I bought this table, cheap kitchen table actually, with drop leaves in it, from IKEA. And I set it up as the table I work on. It's not my principal site anymore. Now it's more or less a secondary area for holding things while I'm working on projects. I have my rubber stamps, my ink pads, all that kind of stuff, my various tools, wire, fibers, whatnot. These little jars hold brads and little mini. So this has a mini pen holder and bits and pieces of different things all around. Now, in this little cutout that's here, these are more books about scrapbooking, magazines, all that kind of thing. Everything is organized in these magazine holders with what type of magazine they hold. Label maker's really a good thing to have. And of course my Cuttlebug and my iron and some other, my Xyrons, my smaller ones. And just more storage space down here. Well, once I grew out of that table I just showed you, I bought myself a drafting table. Now, this drafting table used to be set up in the more conventional style, you know how the tabletop is tilted, and it used to sit in this corner, but I needed more space, and the tilting it wasn't really working for me, so I've made it more into just a standard desk. And on this, you can see I've got my Adirondack paint dabbers, my Tim Holtz stains, my pencil crayons, brushes, all kinds of bric-a-brac, my Sizzix, not Sizzix, what do they call them? Stickles, that's the word for it. My stickles are all here, my alcohol inks and re-inkers, and then another little cabinet that holds tags and all kinds of other equipment and material. Over to this side, you'll see, oh, and I didn't point it out in the other part, but I have what I call my inspiration boards, which are just bulletin boards stuck up, and when I make something or get an idea about what I want to do, I'll stick a sample of it up here on the board for future reference. I have another one of these. We'll just pan around the room over here, and there's another one that does a similar thing. So back over here, now we're getting into more of my fabric type papers, backings. Again, that's more for the bookbinding kind of things that I do. And my ribbons and embellishments, all kinds of things in here, my templates, oh, you name it, I've got all that stuff. Again, everything is labeled. And just my ribbon holder here is simply a threaded rod through some eye bolts underneath this cupboard, and you just put them on. And when I want to add one or take one off when it's empty, I just unscrew this nut on the end. There, you get an under view of it. Slide out the rod, slide out the empty cartridge, put in a new ribbon, spool, whatever, and away we go. This has worked out pretty well, and it's cheap. It only cost me about like $5 to make, so that's a good thing. Now, you've seen in a previous video my newest installation, and on my cupboards that I installed in this room, I added, just the other day, I put up these little, they're supposed to be mail and key holder. Just screw nailed them in, and they hold my various albums that I've made, and if you take a look for that video, it's a little bit more detailed about how I went about putting this together. It's really simple and very inexpensive. Now you'll notice my printer station here. I have 3 printers, and you might wonder why. Well, like my computers, I like printers. But this, and it's working right now because it's printing out one of my scrapbook pages from a recent trip to New York City. This is my wide format printer. This one will print a 13 by 19 inch sheet of paper, and that's how I do all my scrapbooks. They're all done digitally. I use a program on my computer called Memory Mixer, and of course I use Photoshop Elements 11, and that's how I create my pages, and this printer prints them out. It's a little bit more expensive than conventional printing, but the results are well worth it because of the high quality reproduction that you get. This is my main printer. It's a color printer, scanner, all in one kind of thing, fax machine. I use this quite a bit. And then this is a laser printer for when I don't need color, because color can be expensive. I use this small laser printer for just simple black and white text for most things. Below, if I go below, and you notice these cupboards, counters that I had. These counters, actually, when we moved into this house, I simply bought a long slab of countertop and went to IKEA and bought these faux wood filing cabinets. They have wheels, but I removed the wheels from them, and they're simply the cabinets that hold up this countertop. Same over on the far side of the room. And underneath there was lots of space to add these large drawer storage bins. And again, they're all labeled with whatever's in them. And very similar over on the far side too. You can see them all laid out there as well. Last but not least is my island. This is my central work area. The island is basically two IKEA kitchen islands put together, side by side. They had lots of storage space underneath them, as you can see. And I have things in baskets, and all the baskets are labeled. My adhesives, my glitter mists, all that kind of stuff. My mixed media gels, things like that. And on the end, I have another cutting board. I have another little shelf I picked up somewhere that I screw nailed in there to put miscellaneous items. I bought one of those reflections, I believe it is, carousels. And they hold most of the equipment that I use most immediately at times. And this little holder I created. All I did was I took the little cans that, what do they call it, tomato paste come in, washed them out well, wrapped them in scrapbook paper, and then I simply glued them together at different heights with a glue gun. And they hold all my pen collections in there. And it looks kind of neat, I think. I do have two outlights, whatever they call them. I love those because they give you more of the natural light effect. And then my label maker, yes, I told you, I have one. I actually have several of them. And this is my Cricut, my small one, my mini Cricut. This is the one I use the most. It's hooked up to another computer over here. Just like, there we go. And you may have seen this in my laminating video. And this is where I do most of my creating, right here. I love this height because I can stand. I don't like sitting down when I'm doing scrapbooking or when I'm doing you know, my albums and things like that. So that's the end of the tour. I hope you liked it. Maybe you got some ideas for organizing your space, and I'm always looking for ideas to organize because, you know, every now and then you need to do a purge because things start to pile up. So that's it for now. Bye-bye.
So that takes me to events. In the past week, we had a pop-up sew day on Saturday. Lots of fun. I think at the height of it, we had about 40 people. I think people got a lot done. And as usual, I always enjoy myself. I always have a good time. Walter was there. He wasn't supposed to be. He was supposed to be going off to an in-person sew day with his bunch of garment sewers, but that sort of fell apart. So he joined us for the pop-up sew day. And I know his fan club were thrilled. And what else last week? Well, I was able to capture on a short little video clip our turkeys. Well, they're not our turkeys. They're the turkeys that live in the forested area right behind our house. So I have a little video of that I'm going to insert here right now.
Thought you'd like to see our wild turkeys. There goes one. And here comes another one. There's about 5 of them back here that I've seen. And they're out doing the rounds for the day. There they go.
And you know how I was showing you and talking about our chives with the purple flower things? Well, they are a great pollinator. They attract pollinators, i.e. bees, bumblebees. And there was a bumblebee that was hanging out while we were hanging out there. And I thought, well, I'll capture him on video as well, doing his thing.
Okay, so these are our chives. Chives are self-seeding, and right now they've all flowered out. And these chives, we haven't planted these. We planted them way back years ago, and every year they come back up. But you can see the bumblebee. He's really enjoying it. He's right in there with that. Now the question is, do bumblebees make honey? I don't think they do. I don't know what they do. I have to look that one up. But he's a busy little bee.
Okay, so what's coming up? Well, this week, of course, we have Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, I already mentioned. There will be the second last session in the sew along that Stephanie and I are doing with the Churchill block. So that comes out on Thursday. So Chatty, we have, I think this week on So Chatty, it will be our last in our series on the Accuquilt. And of course on Sunday afternoon we'll have Stephen and Walter live again, and maybe this time we'll get to the topic we didn't get to this past week. That always happens, though. With it, we just get off on a tangent. Yep, and that's what's live with Stephen and Walter is all about. Tangents. Yeah. But we don't have anything else major coming up this week. I think Walter has a retirement luncheon to go to tomorrow. He's been, if you saw Stephen and Walter live, he did show the gift bags that he's making, or gift bag that he is making for this person as well as a retirement gift. And Walter's bags are always fantastic, as everybody knows, much to my chagrin and my jealousy. Yeah, not really. Everybody has to have a hobby. And yeah, nothing else exciting. Maybe I'll get my new lenses for my glasses this week. I hope so, because these ones are driving me mental. Yeah, so that's about it. So I know that in the States right now, as I record this, it is the last day of your long weekend, Memorial Day weekend. So I hope you enjoyed the weekend. I hesitate to say enjoy because it's an occasion that is a solemn occasion. I know in the States to honor, fallen soldiers and things like that. But nevertheless, I hope that it was a good weekend for you. And yeah, we'll see you later in the week, I guess. Okay, have a good one. Bye for now.